Hi, I'm Kawaii Bree, 123, and today is our Monday in-depth movie discussion. Today, we'll be talking about a classic Miyazaki film, My Neighbor Totoro. We're gonna just talk about that today. We're gonna jump straight into it. I'm gonna bring my co-host up, ShyCutie.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
ShyCutie 38.
All right. So, like I said, we're gonna jump right in. Okay. This is a
Mhm.
classic Miyazaki film. My Neighbor Totoro. I think for me, it was. I think I watched this one after Spirited Away. So this is a
Mhm.
classic film. My kids love it. My 3-year-old loves it. I love it. So we were talking about Spirited Away last week, and so we segued into My Neighbor Totoro. So, what's your experience with My Neighbor Totoro? Shy Cutie.
Oh my gosh, like I said, it is like a hug in a movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
just so sweet. And like right when you thinking that it's gonna be like scary, it's not, or you thinking that, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen and it doesn't. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's just such a sweet movie.
It
Everybody in
is.
there was super nice. I loved the energy of the dad. Okay.
Oh yeah. I
Oh my
noticed that
gosh.
on rewatch. What did you like about
Yes.
the dad?
It was just that he was like he allowed them to be children and he was like so like he was humble. Like he was a humble dad. He was willing to like listen to them and he and to some degree I loved how they show like he was an adult, he was a dad, but he still kind of understood that the imagination was important, and sometimes like I appreciated that he catered to that a lot. I
Yeah.
thought it was the sweetest thing.
Yeah, I think I've
Yeah.
seen this movie probably 12 to 15 times. My oldest, she really loved this movie when she was younger. So we used to watch it all the
Hmm.
time. And I loved it myself. And then now we just watched it again in preparation for the show. And yeah, I definitely pay more attention to how great the dad was this time. Maybe because I have a young child now. Well, I had one before, but I don't know. I just feel like for some reason it definitely stood out to me more how like gentle he was with them and
Hmm.
like, oh, you want to go explore? Let's go explore. And he like gave
Hmm.
them room to explore. I
Hmm.
definitely enjoy how he
Hmm.
like yeah, how same thing, like how he just handled them, especially in
It
such a
was
stressful situation.
yes, and I appreciated that like there was like points in the movie where I thought he was gonna like get to a point he was gonna like yell at them, but he
Mhm.
never did. He never did, and it's like he worked obviously like he had a job because he was staying up doing it, but he never allowed that to get in the way of like his personal relationship with the girls, and I thought that
Right.
was so sweet,
Yeah.
so sweet, you
I
know.
definitely like that they moved out into the country and he definitely
Hmm.
leaned on the community. I'm not sure if he knew anybody. It seemed like he knew, was that her mom? Like the lady who was granny or
Hmm.
grandma they called her. Was she
Yeah.
really, I don't think she was really either one of the parents' real mom.
No, she seemed like she was just like the granny of the whole community because she said,
Yeah.
"You could call me granny. That's what everybody calls me."
Yeah, but she
So
definitely,
she's,
like, knew they were coming and was, like, preparing
mm-hmm,
for them, so, I'm
yeah,
not sure
which
who she
is,
was, but I liked her. But, yeah, I
mm-hmm,
definitely, one thing I really love about this movie is I feel like this
mm-hmm,
is one of the most accurate depictions of children.
yes,
Yeah. So, what did you think
especially the
about the 2
4-year-old.
girls? Yeah.
The 4-year-old girl, she tripped me out. First, when I saw her, I was like, she is just so cute. Like
Yeah, May.
they did such
Mhm.
a yeah, May was so cute. They did a good job with like even like the fat pockets on her face. Like you could tell she was still little, but
Yeah.
she was so cute and she was strong willed, like
Mhm.
and I think seeing her like that and then like seeing how she was just always just curious, her curiosity of the world, like
Yeah.
she wanted to like explore that. And I thought it was very accurate to a 4-year old, like for
Oh
sure,
my god, she was so cute, and I think, when I it's interesting because I think I don't know how old Sasuke was.
I think she's
Um,
10.
Yeah, I think she's like 10 or 11, but it so reminded me of my girls,
Mhm.
like their age
Mhm.
gap, because the smallest one and my oldest may be a little older than Sasuke, but Satsuki, she seemed very mature for her age, so
For her
she still
age.
reminded me a lot of my oldest, and the little
Mhm.
one reminded me of my youngest for
Of the
sure.
young.
Yeah, and then
That's
like their
cute.
dynamic, and I love that they had such a good relationship
Mhm.
because that's kinda how my girls are, like, they get
Yeah.
along, like, most of the
Mhm.
time, and, the oldest is so caring for the youngest, but
Mhm.
sometimes when she get a little grumpy, she be snapping, like, when Satsuki
Right.
was obviously stressed about her mom, and she kinda
Mhm.
snapped at May, like, I see that happen in real life between the 2 of
Real
them.
life.
Yeah, so I
Mhm.
love their
Yeah.
relationship together.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it definitely they definitely captured those relationships very well in a
Mhm,
very realistic way. Like that's exactly how you would expect for a 10 or 11-year-old to respond to a 4-year-old when there's all
mhm,
these other things going on. And I loved how they kind of showed the difference between the ages too, because like the way the dad dealt with the stress of it all was just he
mhm,
was just so chill, so calm, just kind of doing what he needed to do. But he
mhm.
was still there for those girls, and I just love that. I just love
Yeah.
that.
I
It's so
definitely
cool.
think the first part of the movie that was so quiet, there's not
Mhm.
much being said, but I just
Mhm.
love it. I love like when they first move in the house, that scene
Mhm.
where they're just like running around outside and they're just so
Yeah.
hyped to be in a new house, and the
Yeah.
dad's like, "Can you find the stairs?" And it all leads into this time where they're in the
Mhm.
bath and he's like he could feel that they're a little nervous and the stress of it all, and he
Mhm.
just like starts laughing out loud, and then
Yeah.
the soot sprites fly away. I just love
Yeah.
that whole like segment.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
it's so nice.
That
So
is nice. Mhm.
what do you think like symbolically? Because we
Mhm.
ended up here talking about this movie because
Mhm.
of the soot sprites being in Spirited Away as well.
Yes.
But they were in
Uh-huh.
this movie first. This is where they first appeared. Um
Mhm.
What do you think was the symbolism of the soot sprites? And when they like flew away, like once they were in the tub laughing and stuff,
Yeah.
the soot sprites flew away into the
Yeah.
air.
Oh, I thought about this so hard last night
Uh-huh.
when after that movie went off for that very reason, because it was very interesting to me. For first, Granny had told him that, oh, you have suspects. They kind of reside where nobody else is, and then they form like they get dirty or something like that.
Mhm.
It really kind of made me think about like our bodies, like how in the
Mhm.
Bible talks about our temple and like
Mhm.
that, where what happened, I think, when Jesus got rid of the spirits, he said be careful because there'll be seven more trying to come
Yeah.
back.
They'll
So
come
it
back.
made me,
Mhm.
yeah, it made me think about that. To me, made me think about that because it's kind of like as soon as they occupied the space and they were like happy in the space and they filled the
Yeah.
space, it was like the suspects had no space there anymore, so they were
Yeah.
kind of forced to leave.
Yeah,
So
I thought that
that's
was
kind of my thought
cool.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
what did
thought
you
that
think?
that was I
Mm-hmm.
definitely before just figured they leave, like Granny said, but like
Mm-hmm.
I agree, like when they decided to have a positive emotion and like fill the air with their laughter,
Mm-hmm.
the soot sprites just went ahead and just left.
It was like,
I
oh,
thought that was
okay.
so cool.
That was cool.
Um, yeah, and in this movie they didn't have legs or arms, which I also thought
Mm-hmm.
was cool. And I wonder if this is like their natural state. And then
Yeah.
the magic in Spirited Away gave them arms and legs so
Arms
that
and
they could
legs.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering about that too, because I was also thinking like, what if, because it seemed like the suspects were on that in the Spirited Away movie,
Mhm.
they kind of occupied a majority of that area. So I'm wondering if, because they occupied a majority of the area for such a like an extended period of time, if over time they became like more like
Mm.
stronger.
Well,
Like,
I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
in Spirited Away, they are in the spirit world. So I guess you
That's
could
true.
say that that could be their true form in Spirited Away because they're in the spirit
Maybe
realm
in the spirit
where they're
realm. Yeah.
where that may be their true form. Like that's how
Mm-hmm.
they work. That's what they do. So
That's what
it
they
could
do.
just be in Spirited Away that that's their true form because we're seeing
Yeah.
them on Totoro in the human plane.
I mean, fun. That's true. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Like seeing
Yeah.
them in different realms, maybe that
Yeah.
they look different. You know,
Mhm.
that's interesting too. I didn't think about that. I did think about the fact that like, it seemed like they are definitely stronger in places where there's not as much human interaction,
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of
Like
thing,
in the
for
spirit world,
sure.
they definitely
Mm-hmm.
probably in their natural state.
State, yeah,
But Satsuki, an interesting thing that I read about Satsuki, their
yeah.
names both are Mei. So Satsuki is the Japanese word for May, and the
Oh,
little sister's name is May, which I thought was an
mm-hmm.
interesting tidbit.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay, okay.
Miyazaki, when he originally made the film, he wanted to just have this May be the star of the movie.
Okay.
But
Okay.
he felt like for some of the stuff he wanted her to go through and experience, it would just kind of be unrealistic for a 4-year-old to just be doing all this by herself. So then he
Mhm.
came up with the idea of like giving her older sister that kind of helped her and like followed her and stuff
Oh.
like that. So that's where
Yeah.
the whole that was May was the star of the movie. Um
Mhm.
yeah, I just love May. When we were watching it, my 3-year
Mhm.
old just loved May. And what I appreciate about this movie is, which Miyazaki does so well, is like
Mhm.
studying his subjects. He
Uh-huh.
embodied a 4-year-old so well that my almost 4-year-old saw this child on the screen and just was instantly drawn to the movie, and, and easily could follow what May was thinking,
Mhm.
and it almost
Yeah.
felt like she would do the same thing because every time she was curious about something, May was curious about it. So I just really
Mhm.
liked seeing the two of them and like her asking questions like, where did it go? Like when she was chasing the spirits and she was sitting there
Mhm.
looking and they like snuck out behind her.
Yeah.
And like almost like she was sitting there and my youngest was like, what, where did they go? So it was just like the same. They had the
Yeah.
same kind of questions. So it was really
Yeah.
cute. I really
That is
appreciated
cute.
it.
That
Mm-hmm.
is so cute. And I do, the other thing that came to my mind after when they first moved into the house, and
Mm-hmm.
the 4-year-old May was like following her sister, kind of repeating what she was doing.
Mhm.
That was super realistic of what a 4-year-old or 3-year-old even would do,
Yeah.
because that's what they do. They mimic you. And I thought that was so cool that they captured that, and they used her sister to capture it the most, you know.
Yeah.
It was so cool. That was
They were
so
so
cute.
loud too.
They were,
It was a
they
lot of
were,
screaming like, "Ah." I
yeah.
wonder if there was a, like, spiritual significance of I think it was, like, them
Hmm.
announcing their presence in a way.
Yeah,
Like, all the
maybe
screaming and stuff, like,
making
kinda
their presence known. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like scaring away any kind of bad monsters or whatever, because when they're that age, just like monsters do exist
Yeah.
to some degree, kind of thing, because of their
Yeah.
imaginations. But yeah, that's a good
Definitely.
point too.
So, my youngest loved Granny as a character. Was there anything that you noticed about Granny or what you liked about Granny?
She just she's such a like wise, like calm spirit who like didn't she always see she seemed like she had a lot of knowledge too about things, and
Yeah.
you only knew it when you talked to her, kind of
Yeah.
thing. You like is she one of those, like I feel like she's one of those type of people, when you talk to her you be like, wow.
Yeah. She, like,
You
had
know
so much
that.
random knowledge about stuff, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she did. And I loved how she interacted with the girls, because even when they were like in frantic, she was just kind of like, I tried to like keep her happy.
Yeah, everybody was so sweet in this movie, like you
Yeah,
said, and I
yeah.
think because like, this is the first time I've watched this movie since I moved and live in the country now,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think it was such even to see, like, this is Japanese countryside versus American
Mm.
countryside, but it's still the same,
It's the
like
same.
it's the
Mhm.
same. Everybody is so nice and just
Mhm.
like willing to help and just, you know, I love the
Mhm.
pace of this movie.
Mhm. Mhm.
I definitely feel like it embodies country living. Like it's
Mhm.
about patience. It's kind of about just letting it
Mhm.
unfold,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it definitely had the countryside like energy to the
Mhm.
movie. And Granny is just like my daughter said that was grandma. That was her actual
Yeah.
grandma, and she reminded me of her. Like just like she got the best garden.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
just know all this spiritual stuff, and she'll just say random stuff like, "Do this when you
Mhm.
see this, and that'll help them go away." I mean,
Right.
she
Yeah.
really is like my mom. So,
Yeah, I would have to agree. I could definitely see her like being a lot like Mama Lois.
Yeah,
Like
she is just like
especially
this.
when she was go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. Mm,
When
Go ahead.
remember the part when she was telling the little girl that if your mom eats this vegetables from this garden, she'll definitely feel better.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like the garden and the naturalness of it was like a healing. I was like, that sounds definitely like Miss Mama Lois. So
yes, it definitely was. She definitely was so much like her. I definitely just love that character and like seeing the kids' response
hmm
to her, and even seeing my child response to her in the movie. Like, she was like,
yeah.
she was May, her older sister was Satsuki, and grandma was grandma.
hmm And grandma was
So
grandma.
yeah, so I like the granny. I think that's something that like to circle it to like real life issues. Some
hmm
people say that in our community we don't have villages anymore.
hmm
And I think granny is like village. She is
hmm
like the embodiment of how it was in the old, because this movie is really old. I'm not sure when it was
Yeah.
made. I feel like it was made in the 80s. But
Yeah, I want to say about that time.
I think it was
Yeah.
like made 87. I think like almost when I was born. Let me look it up.
Yeah,
Um
it was early. It was like
yeah.
early 80s, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's see.
let's see.
But
Are you
so
look
there
it up?
was
Okay.
still, and I'm sure maybe in Japan there's still like community, but I know in America a lot of people talk about how we don't have community. 88, it was made in
Oh yeah,
1980.
okay. 88. Gosh, I was 5
Um,
years old.
yeah, that's why I was like, it was pretty much made like when I was
When you was like
born,
you
just
was
a year after.
born. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that people talk about in our community and stuff, we don't have
Mhm.
villages anymore. Do you kind of agree with that?
I do. I do. I think about it all the time because when I do remember there was like one maybe a couple points in my childhood where it did feel like you had a village because like when I was about I remember when I was like 4 to 5 years
Mhm.
old. Um Granny reminds me of my grandma Shine. Everybody called
Mhm.
her grandma Shine. In the country, she had a trailer. I mean, no, she had a brick house, and
Uh-huh.
all the kids, like the cousins, all of us would be all in her house every Sunday. She'd be in the kitchen cooking us, Sunday dinner. And she have one person in there snapping the peas, and you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, and then right next to her was my other aunts, and then next to her was my uncle, and like the kids were just free to go, And I think that community type feeling that we had back when I was like 5, which was I would say around that same time frame in the 80s. I don't feel like we have that anymore. You know, I don't
Yeah.
feel like people really kind of people now are more like stay to themselves. They don't really
Yeah.
try to like
I don't think it's a
yeah,
thing as much anymore, especially when you live in a city. Once
definitely.
again, I stay in the country and I still feel like it's very much so still like that. I mean, I think
Mhm.
in a sense of like maybe it's not family, like like my neighbors aren't my
Mhm.
family besides on our
Mhm.
immediate land. So I would maybe not just leave my kids with them because I don't know them in that way, but
Mhm.
there still is that community. Like, our power went out, and we called a neighbor, and he's gonna put our meat in his deep freezer, and
Oh yeah.
when he hunts deer, he like process a whole deer for us for like $50, and
Oh nice.
people just give stuff away. Like we just gave a cast iron oven that was in our sheds to somebody free, and like
Nice. Okay.
one of the cattle farmer who has a field behind our house. we have like a bunch of cows behind our house.
Mhm. Mhm.
He was just like, "Oh yeah, I have a generator. I mean, a deep freezer for y'all." Like people be trying to give us tractors. Like people are still, it's still very much like community, and you
Mhm.
definitely lean on them. Like when our neighbor
Mhm.
across the street, he don't hardly even talk to anybody. But when he went fishing and he had like a bunch of fish, he came by and brought us a whole cooler of fish. You know.
Nice.
So it's just
Yeah.
like that's how it is. When we needed a lawnmower, our other neighbor gave us a riding lawnmower to use, and we got a
See,
riding
that's cool.
lawnmower. So it's
Yeah.
still
See?
very much like that in the country.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because a lot of black people, you know, have this idea of the country, especially in the South.
Yeah.
Um, like when I say the country in the South, what's something that come in your head immediately? What's the first
Um,
thing you, well, not pot, we know we can
right.
think pot, but what's the first and negative thing most black people think about when you
Oh
say you
man, it's
live in the
like
country?
everything's so far away.
Yeah.
Like in the boondocks,
Yeah.
they call it in the hillbillies or whatever they call it, like,
Hmm.
expression. But yeah,
And
that's
a
the
lot of
most
people
thing
think
I
also like racism. Like I think a lot of
oh yeah.
people think like you in the deep South, you're outside of the city. Like I think most people assume like you're at threat of a lot of racism.
Racism.
And
Yeah.
that's like literally like
That's not the case.
no. Because I think
Yeah.
everybody lives so close and helps each other and talks to each other and forms connections. So it's just like it can't really exist in that space. I feel like
Mhm.
racism is only, it's like a luxury you have in isolation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like once you actually get to know people, it's really hard to be racist.
It
You
is.
know?
It is.
Like
It
any
is.
stereotype you have of a group of people is typically because you don't interact with them. But
Mhm.
once you
Yeah.
like interact with people on on a regular basis, it's really hard to like
Yeah.
I think have
Yeah.
those kind of ideals. So that's what I mean. Like I feel like in country life, you just don't have time for it. It's like
Yeah.
we all work
Ye-
together.
Yeah, because I even had, it's so funny that you brought up the racism because we lived in an area where racism was at its highest before. And did I experience it here and there? Yes. Did I experience it to the degree that I've heard other people tell me? No, because I think, like you said, it depends on like your interactions with people, and like after talking to a bunch of different, cultures of people, especially like white people, and they talk to me, they're like, "Wow, like you don't sound anything like what they say." We sound like on the TV shows and things like that. And I said, yeah, we don't all talk like that. I said, some of them are just from raised up differently. Some of them were in really poor neighborhoods, and a lot of times they're exposed to different things because of that. And I kind of just gave them a little bit of education, because I think that's the
Yeah.
other thing. I think that a lot of the times, sometimes we get so stuck on the racism part, but we end up becoming more part of the problem than we are the
Mhm.
solution, by like not informing them, not letting them
Mhm.
know like what happens and how things and why they look a certain way when you see
Yeah.
black people on TV and
And
things
and
like
even
that. So
just like I said, I think once you get to know a person on a
mhm,
real, I think it's a luxury. I think it's a
it is.
luxury to have the stereotype of any group of people, not just
Yeah, not just
race
black. Yeah,
wise. Like
right,
it's, I
right.
mean, we everybody
Hmm.
does it. I mean, black people in
Hmm.
the hood have certain thoughts about white people.
White people.
Every group is gonna have a thought about a race they don't interact with on a normal basis.
Hmm.
And that's why I feel like it's just a luxury. It's a luxury of being in isolation. Once you
Hmm.
aren't able to be isolated, a lot of that,
Yeah,
tends to fall away or become maybe
yeah,
covert or like, maybe it's not as
right.
obvious, which I don't care about that. But yeah, so
Exactly.
that's what I just wanted to touch on that because this movie
Yeah.
definitely with the countryside living, I think a lot of
Hmm.
people would say that people aren't like that anymore, but in my experience, people are still that way. I think we just have most of society when you stay in the city, like you said, it's just kind of like you're on your
Hmm.
own and you kind of do it yourself. So,
Yeah,
so I
I
did
think
want to
that's
touch
true.
on that.
Yeah,
So
it's a
let's
good
go
point. Hmm.
to The mom, I
The
mean, we won't really spend a lot of
mother.
time on her because we don't know
Yeah.
much about her. But I had a fun, like, what's your theory on why she was in the hospital?
I thought about that. So I think that something happened with her immune system. Like it was
Mm,
compromised for a little bit because of some other sickness that she had. And I think that she had to kind of be on some type of breathing treatments for a while. And like how sometimes people when they have their lungs collapse or something, I think that
mm-hmm.
it's like she had some issues with her lungs or her immune system, and that she just couldn't be on her out
In the
like
city.
in the city around people for a while until she got stronger
Yeah.
or something. Because at first I
Yeah, and
was
they
like,
moved
"Does
to
she
the
have cancer?"
country, so
Yeah,
it definitely
exactly.
would take her out of like the city and like around all those allergens and things that trigger her. So yeah, I thought
Mm-hmm.
about that. I know
Yeah.
Miyazaki, he said in his childhood his mom had tuberculosis for a
Okay.
while. So a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
assume maybe she has tuberculosis. I actually had a theory because when I watched it for
Mm-hmm.
the first time I noticed there was a baby in it.
Oh, what? It was a baby in the end? Oh, did we freeze?
End credits. Oh, who is this? Oh, that's the old me. Hello.
Okay. It froze.
Wi-Fi over here. I'm still at my mother-in-law's house. This happens every stream. After like 30 minutes, it
Mm-hmm.
does this. I don't know. It's just a thing.
Okay.
I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
it's the
it's a
thing.
thing.
I
Yeah,
figured it
like
was
after
like
30 minutes,
something
I
with the
freeze
internet.
up, like right on clock, like clockwork. 29 minutes, this
Okay.
happens. Yeah.
It really.
Uh-huh. It's like clockwork. So I think
Okay.
it's her
Okay.
router or something, bandwidth kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So
but my theory is
you
she was pregnant. I think she was
oh you
pregnant.
you think
Mhm.
so? Okay.
Mhm. And I
That's a
think
good
it was like
interesting
super
thing.
early. Maybe she was on bed rest or
Okay.
um she had
Mhm.
like, you know how some people get emesis and they just throw up a lot. Um
Mhm.
and so they had to be hospital.
Okay. You froze again.
Like
Is it my internet? Three. What?
act right. It's her internet, but it is what it
Okay.
is. We'll try to keep pushing through. I mean, I can edit
Okay. Yeah. I
this
just
out.
want
I'm
to.
gonna
I
keep
just.
on trying to see what's gonna happen.
Okay.
What?
So yeah, you saying the last thing you were saying that she's pregnant and you think like she
Yeah.
was like some kind like high risk, maybe like a high risk
Yeah, like she
pregnancy or
had to
something.
be on I'm gonna try to get the ending. I was about to pull up the
Okay.
end scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then my the Wi-Fi cut out. But let me see if I can find the credits.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
do
I
remember.
saw May with this little baby,
I hadn't
and
even
me and Peyton
noticed
was
that.
like, "Is that one of the kids in the town or something?" But
Yeah.
yeah, we were just looking at it. I was trying to see if I could find the end credits.
Oh, okay.
But I
Now
was
I
like, maybe
did
she was
catch.
pregnant.
Yeah, because I caught that she came home and they were like in a taxi, right? Like, It was like she was
They didn't show her come home in the movie, but they
at the credits. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they show her like in the bath with the kids.
Yep, I saw
Um,
that.
so let
And
me see if
then
it has
let's
on there.
see. I didn't notice the baby girl. I
I
didn't
thought
notice
maybe
the
there
baby.
was like, a little sister or brother or something. Or either they didn't
Yeah,
know she was pregnant yet.
yeah.
Oh, this
Okay,
the
that could.
beginning. Let me see if
Maybe
it's
that's why she got sick when she got that cold.
yeah, that's what I thought. Cause you know
Okay,
how sometimes like before you know, you just be like, I'm sick all the time. I'm getting
right.
everything under the sun. I passed out like
Mm-hmm.
some women faint. So
Yeah,
my thought was maybe she had that going on.
it could have been. It that definitely could have been
I can't
like the
find the
case.
ending that they had on the HBO Max one. So, but yeah, there was like this little
Okay.
baby um
Mm-hmm.
that she was playing with. I don't think in the original one that was in there, but
Okay.
it was just interesting to see. So I was like, maybe she was
Yeah.
pregnant and just like really early, like too early, where especially if she was high risk, they wouldn't tell her, like tell the
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
she was a high risk pregnancy, maybe they were like, we gonna make sure you gonna be able to keep the baby before we tell the
Mm-hmm.
kids. Because I also noticed the dad never really seemed worried.
Yeah, he never did. He seemed that's why I was like his energy was just always just so calm. Like what she
Yeah,
called, like even when they got the telegram from the hospital or whatever, and he was like,
yeah.
"Oh, okay, I'm gonna head there right now." Like it wasn't a like, "Oh my gosh,
Mm-mm.
what's happening?" You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it never was. I think it was like supposed to be like through a child's eyes. Like, of course, if their mom's in the hospital and they just move and they don't really know what's going on, of course, they would be stressing. Like, Sasuke, her mind went to a bad place because she didn't have an
mm-hmm,
understanding of what was going on. But I did peep that dad was never really like pressed about it. So I
mm-hmm,
feel like
mm-hmm.
maybe it was like she was pregnant and they just weren't telling the kids yet.
Yeah, maybe so. Because even Granny didn't seem pressed about it. Because you remember when she was like, "Oh, don't say that." When she
Yeah.
said, about her dying, and Granny was just like, "Oh no." It was almost like there was like a slight sense of like they knew like a security
Yeah.
thing. Like, "Oh, don't worry, she's okay,
Yeah,
like
it
it just
definitely seemed like they knew. So I just went with the theory that the mom is pregnant
yeah.
and it was a high risk pregnancy and she had to be on bed rest and that's also
Mhm.
probably why they moved to the country. They might need more space because they
Yeah.
got another one coming. So that was my
That makes
theory.
sense.
I thought that
That
was
makes
like,
sense.
yeah.
I mean, that makes some. I think I could see that being another theory.
Yeah.
Like she could have definitely been pregnant. So who,
Mhm. Cuz they never
interesting.
seemed like like
Yeah,
even when she was in the hospital, like what they were talking about, it wasn't like, oh, am I gonna be like none of the parents seemed worried. They were just kind of like, oh,
they.
this just kind of annoying that you got to be here and it's stressing the kids
Mhm.
out. But
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, so
But it was like
um,
everybody was sure that she was gonna make it home.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was my
Okay.
thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so we'll move on to I'll talk about some interesting. I'm gonna share this.
Uh huh.
There's of course in the Japanese culture or in Japan, there's a lot of Shinto. It's the belief system, and you see that in
Mhm.
this movie with the shrines and different scenes, and like the tree that Totoro lived in was a camphor tree, and
Okay.
apparently in the Shinto belief, camphor trees are like special trees, like
Mhm.
and deities live in some of the trees. So when
Oh.
she found Totoro's tree, you saw it had the rope around it with the stuff. Um,
Yeah.
that's like that is marks a tree as having a deity dwells in it, like in the Shinto
Mm.
belief. So
Okay.
that's why when the dad walked up to when I was younger and I watched it and I was like, how he I always thought the dad was just like playing to the imagination of the kids in a way.
Yeah.
But I didn't pay no attention to like when they went. Remember when May was trying to show them where Totoro was and she kept running through the
Yes.
bushes. She came out the other
And it
side.
came out that side.
And then they went the other way and you saw the entrance to the forest had that. like gate above it, kind of like it was an
Yeah.
archway, and that
Yeah.
means you're going into a sacred place. And so
Okay.
that's why when the dad went in, he said, "When I saw this place, I knew this would be a good place to live."
Uh-huh.
And so it was a shrine to a deity. So it makes sense that Totoro was the deity that lived in the tree.
Okay. Okay.
And they couldn't
That's
see him
interesting.
because he's a deity. So only like kids can
Could
see them,
see
the
it.
spirits. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
Totoro was the deity that watched over that area.
Area. Oh, that is so cool. And
Yeah.
okay, so now I also had a thought too. You know how like some movies do this. Where only certain people could see certain things.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a direct correlation between like what you believe, like your faith, and
Mhm.
versus what you see, right?
Mhm.
Now, do you remember the part when the dad was like he had put the girls to bed? It was he went and he started working, and it was the same night that Totoro like took him up, like that.
Yeah, they grew the
They
trees.
they grew the
Yeah.
tree, and they were up in the tree. Now he looked up, but he saw it looked like he saw Totoro,
Oh,
but
he
he didn't
heard
see
I
the
think he was
girls.
hearing the music they were playing. It was like a nice,
Okay.
gentle I think he was just like, cause he looked outside like, "Oh, what a nice summer breeze," and he could
Yeah.
hear the instruments that they were playing up there. I
Okay.
think that's why
Okay.
he looked, cause he could hear the sound. Cause
Okay.
I
Because
noticed
when
that,
he
and I was like, it seemed like he could hear the sound, so he looked in the direction it was coming from, and he was just like,
right.
"Ah, like, oh, it's a nice summer evening, nice
Evening green.
breeze."
Okay, because the when he looked, the camera showed Totoro.
Mhm.
So I was trying to figure out, was that him actually seeing it for the first time because of like his
Mm.
because he
I
he
don't think he
believed.
I think he believed that the spirit was there. Like from what I
Yes.
could they do believe these spirits live there. So I don't think he
He
ever thought he would see it.
seeing it
But
right.
I think it was just showing like Totoro, he seemed to be a wind spirit, like he controlled the wind.
Yeah, that's
Because the first time Sasuke, like Mei saw him first, but I think that was him outside when Sasuke was
went to
getting the
pick
wood.
those. Yeah, and a strong gust of wind
Yeah, I
came.
think that was
Hmm.
him. I think that was him.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
she couldn't see him.
Not yet. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then, like, he
Hmm.
controls the wind because you see, like, they was flying, and then, like, when he roars, the wind, like, blows. So he seemed to be, like, some kinda wind spirit as
Spirit.
well, because
Okay.
even when they were, like, flying with him on the top thing, whatever that was,
Mm-hmm.
Sasuke said, "Oh, we're the wind, May, like, we're the wind."
Oh yeah, that was so
Yeah,
cute.
that was cute. I just love how, like, kids just be going with stuff. Like,
Hmm. They do.
kids just be like, "Okay, well, we flying,
Okay, I
on the
don't know how
top."
we doing it. Right. They
Yeah,
just
and I think yeah.
and I love the faith that they had, like in the whole idea of it, because I mean, as adults, we look at something like that, girl, I ain't jumping on that thing. What you
Yeah,
talking about? But the
and even
kids like they
Saskia, as she was getting older, but she
older,
still
yeah.
had hesitation sometimes, but she ultimately just, like, went with it. Like, you can see she
Hmm.
waited, like, she's looking at them. May was like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
like that too," but she took a step.
Right.
Mhm.
May got on there quick. She ain't take no
May
time.
Yeah, and I think that's it shocked him. Did you get that? That, like, when she first met him, he thought
Yes.
maybe she would be scared when he roared
Yeah.
because he wanted to sleep, but she was like,
She
"Okay,"
just
like, she wasn't
okay.
scared of him.
She roared back at him. That is
Mhm.
which was
Yeah,
so cute.
it was, and I think he was like, "Okay." And, my
Right.
my youngest loved that scene, like, she would roar with them too. So I
Oh,
just be
she
like, "Oh,
was.
that's such a" yeah, that was, like, such a child response, so accurate. Because when she saw
Yeah.
it, that was her natural she's like, "Okay, we roaring now."
Right.
And
She
she
was
just,
like,
like, loved it. Mhm. And then when
that
they
is
was
so
doing the
cute.
little dance at the garden, that same
Uh-huh.
she got him to start doing it too. And I was just like, "That's just how
Oh.
kids are." They just be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, we going around in circles doing this." Okay.
Yeah.
And then she just started doing it too, just like they did in the movie. So
That
I
is so
can
cute.
yeah, I can indeed verify that that is what children
That
would
is
do. They don't
that's
ask no
realistic.
questions. Yeah.
Now they like, are we doing this? Okay. and they just jump right on in.
So what lesson do
Oh.
you think that I think there is a lesson in that because ultimately they wouldn't have been able to
Hmm.
find May without
The
their
help of
kids' faith in that
mm,
spirit and you know. So what do you think that
some, I guess the so for one, definitely the children had some serious amount of faith, like
mhm.
so blind that the same situations that they saw as an opportunity to explore, I'm just like, oh, the baby by herself, as a parent, as I'm
Yeah.
watching this movie. So I guess the lesson is that sometimes, there's there's a false sense of danger we make up in our minds about
Yeah.
our children sometimes, like some just because they go off a little bit and they go outside and play a little bit doesn't necessarily mean something's bad gonna happen to them, but we tend to do that as parents, but the
Yeah.
children are just like, no, we're free, we're gonna have fun,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna be okay, even when
And I
she was
think it was
standing
just
there.
like I think it's just like even like the spirits watching them. Kind of like this comfort of like
Yeah.
all their kids, like the spirits rally to help them in a way.
Yeah, that was so cool. And it was all like, because they're kids and they're innocent, it was almost like they were being watched over no matter what, like
Yeah.
they were never in any real danger, or any of that. Even when May got lost and they
Mhm.
found her, what was she doing? Just sitting there. She
And
was just
actually
sitting there.
speaking of that, I pulled because she was sitting next to these statues.
Oh yeah.
And the statues are,
Okay.
Ojizsama, which is a
Oh
spirit,
Jesus, Mama. Okay.
Ojizsama. And now there is a theory I'm gonna talk about after this, but I just took these 2. He's a protector of travelers, and
Okay.
he's the first deity most people encounter when they set foot in Japan, and he's the protector of travelers, and you'll find him peeking out among the grass along roads and standing at intersections. And,
Mm.
there
Okay.
is overseeing borders are sitting in a wooden shelter built especially for him. Jizo is at temples too, where sometimes he holds a baby in his arms. He is found at boundaries between places, both physical and spiritual, between here, there, life, and death.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting because at one point in the movie, I think they were sitting under this like shrine thing, and they were like, "Oh,
Mhm.
can we stay here for a minute, like under the
Mhm.
from the rain?" And that was probably
Mhm.
one of his shrines because it was along the road, and also the statues that she was sitting next to were these. So
Yes.
it was almost like because just kind of this underlying theme of these spirits like constantly protecting them and helping them.
Mhm.
So I just
Mhm.
thought that was interesting. And then another one says he's a protector of children. And
Okay.
the story goes that
Okay.
the souls of children who die before their parents are not capable of crossing, and because they haven't had enough time to get karma. And
Okay.
so he saves them from punishment. And so he's recognized as the saint of dead children who died at young
Oh,
age. Um, but every night, let's see, I'm just reading through.
let's see. Jizzle
That's
takes
why
care of the souls.
sometimes you see stray stones that have been made into little towers alongside statues. So
Okay.
there's talking
Mm,
about, and
okay.
that's I think it to me that's also another clue that the mom is pregnant
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it's like related to fertility. Women pray to Jizo for fertility and easy childbirth
Mhm.
as well. So I don't know. I still think the mom was pregnant. And yeah, I just think that it's this nice, warm message of like the spirits are there protecting these kids.
Mhm.
Because every time
That's.
it's a spirit that saves them from the rain,
Yep.
from May was found, the cat bus found May,
Yeah.
and Totoro helped them. And it was just like constantly like it was almost like the spirits always knew where they were.
Where they were. Even when they had to stand and wait on the dad, you remember
Hmm.
that?
And he
There
was
was,
standing there with them.
yeah, he was just standing there, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's so cool." Okay,
Yeah. So
That's
that's what I
interesting.
think it's a good message. Like,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna try to keep this one short, this dream not
Mm-hmm.
too long, but I do want to touch on this crazy theory that people have that I'm completely rejecting. But it's a theory that May and Sasuke died.
Uh-huh.
And May actually drowned in the lake,
Okay.
and that's why the parents saw them at the end in the tree because they were dead, and that was their spirits.
Oh.
So that's what do you
What?
think of that? They think that, yeah, the girls died, and maybe the parents didn't know it yet, but
Because he
yeah.
was at the hospital with the mom, and you think that her to having a new baby was like her gift? I mean, she
How
was pregnant.
they like some
I
people said just May died, some people say they both died.
okay.
Um, yeah.
What?
So that's the theory people have that they both died, May drowned, and I guess Sasuke got lost looking for her.
And
Um,
she.
and
Uh
so
huh.
she died too, I guess. And the
Hmm.
cat, they said something about the Catbus when it was scrolling through where the destination was. It like passed something that said the path of graves or something.
Uh huh.
Really, it landed on May. It spelled May's name in
Yes. It's.
hiragana.
Uh
But
huh.
they said it passed by something about death, so it was like saying that that was the bus to the spirit world. And they also said that's why when they found May, she was next to those statues because he helps children who die early. So remember,
Mm.
I just read the two translations of what he's the god of. I choose to
Right.
believe he's the god of safe travels, and that's why she was there because he kept her safe
Yes.
on her travels. But some people
Yeah.
are saying it's on the other side of he's the protector of children who have died. So what do
Who
you
I'm
think
trying
about
to
that?
pass. Okay. So I have to reject that one. I
I
don't
reject
think
it because of
that.
the end credits, because like we see the mom home and
Yes, and okay, I reject it because of the end, but also because when she was in the hospital and she was like, "Oh, I thought I just saw the girls sitting there,"
mhm.
and I I don't know, it doesn't really. I can't find that connection. Like I can't make it
They were
make
saying that
sense.
she saw them because they were dead, and she was close to
Yes,
dying. That's what people assume, like, she's close to dying, so she
uh
could
huh,
see them because they were dead.
because they were dead. That I don't know.
I didn't get that she was close to dying myself, so, um,
Yeah, me. I
I
didn't
mean,
get.
I reject it because you kinda have to believe the mother is gonna die. You have to believe
Yeah,
that both of the girls died, which is also
died.
really sad because you don't see the dad discovering his girls are dead.
Dead. Yeah.
And it's just not
Exactly.
a very Miyazaki. I mean, if Miyazaki gonna make a sad film, he'll make a sad film because
Sad
he has The
film.
Grave of
Yeah.
Fireflies, which is like,
Uh, oh yeah, the one you
um,
suggested that.
I did
Yeah.
not. It's horrible. It's very sad. But so I feel like he
Yeah.
doesn't really shy away from telling emotional stories. Like
Mhm.
he's not the type that if they died and the dad had to witness that and process that, I feel like he would have had respect for killing children and showed that. And Miyazaki is usually pretty pure into his intentions. And the fact that I
Yeah.
never picked up on that in the energy of the movie, that's why
Yeah.
I reject it. Because I'm such a fan of him
Yeah.
that I feel like if he wanted me to get that, he would have
Yeah.
he would have
He would have.
put that. I always felt like the movie was just them teetering between the two realms. Like
Mhm.
kids kind of go between freely sometimes. So I just felt like
Mhm.
that's why you see like these girls are like very fluid and they kind of
Yes.
walk the line of the two realms. So that was my understanding of it.
Yeah. Because I can't. For me, it's especially. I felt like okay, if it would have been more clear if they died, you know.
Mhm.
I think that at the point when she was running around all that time looking for her sister,
Mhm.
and everything, and then them finding her. I
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what people are saying, that I guess because
that
the
when
dad didn't even know they were lost.
yeah, he didn't know that they were lost.
And
The whole town knew they were
yeah,
lost. Yeah,
because he was at the
yeah,
hospital.
yeah, yeah.
So, and
I
we never
just
saw them go back to town. So it's like they're basically
right.
saying after the son said they died.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I don't know.
I just don't see the point of that. And now a
Yeah.
producer who worked on the movie has come out and said that is absolutely not true. So, and he's like, no, that's not. What
That's
would be the
not what
point of
happened.
making that movie? Yeah, like
Yes.
I guess it is an ambiguous ending, and I
Mhm.
think the ending that we get in the HBO or the version I watch now, I don't think it's the same as the original ending, and I'm wondering if that's why they
They
changed the end. Like, I wonder if
maybe.
that's why they
Mm.
added the end credit scene with them being in the bath with the mom and made.
Mhm.
I think maybe that was why they changed the end screen to kinda be like,
Mhm.
"No,
Okay.
mom came home, she didn't die, they didn't die." Like,
Let's make it clear. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah,
So
cuz
I
I
think that's
don't
why.
and the tone, so the tone of the movie the whole time was never like a sad tone. Like, you know what I mean? So like it doesn't make sense to go through a whole movie giving us like all of these happy moments and these like graceful moments and showing the children in their happy phases and then showing the dad and and then having everyone to say, "Oh, she'll be okay. Mom's coming home." I don't see the point of them going through all of that all to
Just to
tell us
kill the
that
girls.
just to kill them. Like, so we did
Yeah, I
all this
mean,
for them to just die.
right.
Anyway.
So, yeah, I just had to go over that theory because I just was like, "That's
Yeah,
crazy that
that
people
is a
think that,
crazy, that is a
something wrong with
crazy,
people,
crazy. I know.
like, get help." Um,
These are
but
same
before
people who
we
be
right, but before we wrap up, what would you say if you had to sum up what Miyazaki wanted us to learn from this film? What would you say? What would you wrap up the message in a nice, neat little package?
nice, neat little package. Okay. From this movie, I would have to say that the message I got was that that happiness does exist in the realm of the real world and the spirit world. And I think that it's like he was showing us that yes, things do happen, and yes, things are not perfect, but it still can be happy. Like it's okay to be happy, and that those type of people still exist. The community, the villages, all of those things still do exist. And
Mhm.
that it can be a good thing.
Mhm.
Like so that mostly generally that's kind of what I like thought like took from it all,
Okay.
and like the faith, having faith in that also is very important.
Same. I definitely
Yeah.
feel like it was like a lesson about faith. And I would say, yeah, just like faith and just like because they definitely in Japanese culture, spirits
Mm.
are their religion is a cultural kind of, you see it in the culture.
Mhm.
Like in all ways. Like you see these shrines everywhere and it's just like such a
Mhm.
part of their life where they're not really religious, but it's just like so ingrained in their culture, these spiritual beliefs. And so I think it was a comforting message that like the spirits are watching, and if you know,
Yeah.
we're always in between, and
Mhm.
they always interact with us even if we can't see them. And so like
Mhm.
just kind of have faith that like they can help you and they're here to help
Mhm.
you. And I get,
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of, it's like you said, a warm hug from the spirit world. That's what this movie feels like.
It did.
You like, it don't really have a plot. Like
Yes.
the first half of the movie just kind of feels freeform, and then the second half
Mhm.
is like it's a problem, but it's very small. But yeah,
Mhm.
just like a warm, like the spirits are always watching and are always
Mhm. Yep. That's why I said it's like a hug in the form of a movie.
yeah. I forgot to put my little Totoro and Catbus.
Oh
down there. But
yes,
yeah, my toddler loved the cat bus because we
the
had a cat.
cat bus.
Yeah, and before we
I
go,
loved
what you
it.
think of the cat
Okay.
bus?
Oh man, I wanted to be on the cat bus. Okay.
It's so cute. I thought my
It
daughter would be
was
scared of it because of the big grins, but she loved the
yes.
cat bus.
You
She
know,
loved
I
it.
definitely see. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was it.
I was noticing the colors that they chose to use kind of helps not be so scary. Remember, I was saying it's like not as intimidating
Mhm.
because I was thinking when I first saw this cat,
Mhm.
and I thought that when they finally showed like his teeth and his smile, that it was gonna remind me of the same cat from Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
but it didn't. But it
No.
didn't. But it
Yeah.
was. But I did notice that like the cat in here was very like soft. The colors on the cat very like,
Yeah.
like
I like that the
more.
headlights and the tail lights were rats.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With
No,
like
I
beady
noticed
glowing
that.
red eyes. Yeah. I like that. It's cute.
Yeah, I noticed that. When did I notice it? Right before she was about to get on the cat bus. I was like,
Yeah.
"Are those rats up there?"
And I do think it's like this like entry into the spirit realm. It's just like fluid and crazy. And like my brother
Hmm.
said, when you on shrooms, I guess he said that's what the spirit world be like. So but yeah, we love shout out to the cat bus. She loved the cat
Yes,
bus. And
cat.
I just say shout out to Miyazaki because even though some of these imagery can be creepy, he is a
Hmm.
master at like not making it creepy
Making
because
it
my
creepy.
3-year-old was never creeped out.
Yes, which is
Never.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate. I thought like yes, when I was watching it, I was like, "Something gonna happen. Something gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something gonna happen." No, nothing in it. It was just so cool, and even on like the scenes where you would think you would be a little scared and creeped out, it wasn't.
It
It was
wasn't.
just it wasn't. It was good. It was
It
really good.
definitely makes you realize you project a lot of your own anxieties on situations because he like
Mhm.
let the story take a slow pace and breathe. And I think a lot of
Mhm.
what you place on the story is your own anxieties. And
It
I like
is.
that he leaves room for you to kind of check yourself in a way. Like, dang, I'm like
Yeah,
really
like
sitting here like thinking something gonna happen to these kids,
right.
you know? So I
Right.
think that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts was doing the most on a lot of those parts.
Exactly.
I
You
was
done
like, wait a
killed the
minute.
kids. You done
Right.
like the
I done
kids
got
that
them let
got
them get deserted in the forest somewhere.
yeah, you projecting a lot on these little kids. So,
Boy,
we
yeah,
love
that is
Totoro. I will always keep watching it. My 3-year-old now loves it,
yeah.
and so,
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it with
um,
my little girl, see if she gravitates to it a little
yeah, the
bit.
imagery, yeah, it's definitely a
Mm-hmm.
feast for the eyes. So, I
Yeah.
don't know what we'll do next. We'll try to do anime movies. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
doing the movie Your Name. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that one, but I'll definitely go watch it because
You gonna
I
see
have a
all the good
list.
movies fooling with me. So we about to
That's
do
good. I
Your
told you I'm working
Name,
on this.
Your Name,
Okay.
or The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Which one?
Ooh, that sounds
The Girl Who
interesting.
Leapt Through Time is an old classic.
It is.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But it's
And your
really
is
good.
your name is that one more of like a
It's
recent?
newer. Yeah, we
Let's
can
do
do a
a since
newer.
we've done two classes, let's do a newer one. Let's do
Okay.
a newer one this time. So your
Or
name is gonna
I
be
haven't
the
watched
next.
Weathering with You, and that's a new one that's really good, and I've been meaning to watch
Okay.
it. So even if you want to watch something even I haven't seen before, we can do
Okay.
Weathering with You because I haven't seen it either.
Weathering with You. That's another
Mm-hmm.
movie. Okay. So
It's really good.
Weathering with You and your name. Okay.
So let's do Weathering with You because I haven't
Oh
seen it.
yes. It's a fantasy. Okay.
Yeah. So next
Like
week
a
we'll do Weathering with You then.
Weathering with You. Let's see how we feel about that one.
All right. Well, this
Okay.
is fun. I'm trying to keep it at an hour because we
Yes.
could probably talk about it forever. But I feel like
I
we
know it's just such a cute movie.
forcing us
It's
to
so
stay in the
cute.
hour, like kind of make sure we hit all our points we want to hit. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. I think
All
we
right.
did good.
Yeah, well, with that being said, I have a show. I'm gonna put this up on the screen because I'm so used to
Mhm.
having a commercial break that I forgot
Oh
that I didn't
yes.
say this. So I stream 3 times a week at 3 o'clock. On Sundays, we do our Otaku Talk, which is anime discussions, and we're gonna talk about the no topics this weekend, which is why she's blushing. We're gonna talk about etchy and the other genre of anime that is the no topic. And we're going to talk about Weathering with You next Monday. And then on Thursday this week, we're going to be doing our review at My Dress Up Darling episode 5. And we're going to continue the I Love You, Colonel Sanders game. So, yeah, that's the schedule for the rest of the week. So, make sure if you enjoyed this video that you feed the algorithm. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you see when I go live. And yeah, follow me on IG. So with that being said, we're out and keep it cute.
Keep it cute.
Bye.
Bye.